Hi everybody, Danielle Fleshman here, stardom and coach. I want to share my story with you guys, and I'm going to try to make this brief and kind of to the point, so we're not here all day. I started coaching in November of 2013, so a little over 2 years now. My story I feel goes back to my childhood because that's kind of where we develop into adults. I was an athlete growing up, played softball, basketball, everything. I had two older brothers. When I was 16 years old, we were from a small town. When I was 16 years old, we uprooted and went from our small town where everybody knew everybody and we were like celebrities, because we were athletes, to a large kind of ritzy city in Texas. My dad was called into ministry. This was completely life-altering for me. We went from kind of a poor town to like a really rich town, and my dad went into ministry, so you can probably figure we didn't have any money. It was really, really hard for me. I turned to a lot of terrible things. I had no self-confidence in myself. I had no self-worth. I turned to men and boys to try to kind of fill that void I had in my life. I went to a private school, and, I drove like an Eclipse, and my car wasn't even good enough, to be at that school. So I just didn't have a lot of friends. I had a few, but not a lot. And just had a really, really hard time. My senior year of high school, my secret boyfriend, who my dad found out I had, he was a drug addict, and he had just mentally torn me apart. It made me think that my parents didn't love me, made me just question all of my beliefs and my faith in God. He ended up going to jail for like a year and a half, and I actually turned to diet pills. I didn't know anything about them, and at this time ephedrine was still legal, but I was 18 and I could buy them, so I did. And I'd never done drugs or anything like that before, but I started taking 5 and 6 at a time every few hours because I liked the way they made me feel. Make a really, really long story short, I had kind of a life-threatening situation where I got hit in the face with a softball, and it almost killed me. And it was because I was high on diet pills at practice. So I threw the pills away, and I was like, okay, God, I'm ready. I thought I was ready. Graduated high school by the grace of God. We moved up to Missouri. My dad took a church up there, and I went to Kansas and went and played softball at Mid-American Nazarene University. An amazing university. I had a great opportunity, but I was just so angry all the time with God that I just wasn't having it. I dropped out after my freshman year, had some knee problems in softball, and started working full-time as a waitress, overnight waitress at Perkins Restaurant. Woo, yeah. Wanted to be a lawyer. Yeah, so all that worked out. Started working, was quickly promoted into management. I don't know if you know anything about restaurants or overnight, but wow, it killed my body. Working crazy hours, 50 hours a week, and just thought I was living the good life. I actually met the man who is now my husband while working the overnight shift. His name is Brian, and we met on some really, really bad terms. We were both completely turned our back away from God. He was married at the time, so we had an affair, and he ended up getting divorced, and, went through this very, very abusive, mentally, physically, anything you could think of relationship. And then several years later, he proposed, trying to, make the relationship better, and I got pregnant. So, when I got pregnant, it was really, really life-altering, and it just changed me because I was like, God, I don't want to raise my child thinking that this life is okay. I had 3 stepkids. At 24 years old, I had 3 stepkids, and it was really, really hard. But we made it, and right before I had Lexi, we got back into church, gave our lives back to the Lord, and I would love to say it's been good gravy ever since, but, every time we're doing something that the Lord wants us to do, Satan seems to try to keep us from doing that. So, I wanted to stay home with my daughter when I had her, so I opened a home daycare, and like our bills, they were getting paid, but we never could get ahead. And from, you know, Brian's divorce and everything else, and we needed to file bankruptcy, and we couldn't even afford to file bankruptcy. It was so bad. And I was going back to school finally. I was getting my pre-law degree, and since we were so broke, I qualified for Pell Grants. And I had seen this woman on Facebook. Her name is Raina Odell. She's actually my upline coach. I saw that she was into Beachbody, and I gained all this weight with my baby, and you know, I become such a binge eater, and Brian and I were fighting again, and like I needed to get the weight back off. I'd always been fit. And I saw her on there, and I knew she went to our church, but I didn't actually know her. And when that Pell Grant hit my account, the overpayment, I actually decided to sign up as a coach for the discount with my Pell Grant money. Signed up, got my Shakeology, loved it, changed my life, and just dove in. And at first I was like, I just want to pay for my Shakeology because we can't afford for me to buy it every month. And, you know, I made $400 my first month. And I was like, whoa, this is huge for our family. You know, so I won't go into all the details of my coaching career, but I will tell you that we went into 2014, you know, needing to file bankruptcy, broke, you know, I was still unhealthy and unhappy. Going into 2015, me making plans to close my daycare. I was training for a bikini competition. My marriage was restored. We were able to buy a new van. We had a savings account. We were able to start life insurance policies and everything because of this coaching opportunity and what it's done for me. You know, and I sit here months later, and I'm now a full-time coach. We're making plans on saving for a house because we currently rent our house. You know, and it's just been life-changing. And you know, I have an amazing relationship with my husband's ex-wife. Like, who does that? So, you know, God has definitely used Beachbody in my life to save me and my family, to save us from, you know, the devil, to save us from ourselves, everything, in every aspect. We, as coaches, we have the answers to everything. And here comes my daughter, real life. You know, we have the answer to helping you get fit. We have the answers to helping you with your finances. You know, helping you with your confidence.
Oh, I go pee-pee.
Okay.
Okay,
go potty. So,
Mommy.
you know, Beachbody. Come here, baby. Come here.
Come here, I wake up.
You wake up. Here's my little one. So again, if you're feeling that this is for you, then it probably is. If you're scared, we were all scared. But, you know, take this opportunity and run with it. It has changed so many people's lives, including my own. And I'm just so grateful that, you know, God placed this company, or used this company to help me get myself out of the pit that I was in.